Shindo Dani Menwanda Momayayan, Bojunim Shumasak. Bojunim Shumasak, Nukomasak, Mijana Gijik, Nabiji Gijik Iban, Nabiji Nibikway, Adonis. It's nice to be here. I sort of agree. It's sort of weird to start a talk by saying I sort of agree with Martin Luther King. Hope, what was it? Hope and what was the hope? Hope and peace and kindness or something will rule the day or something. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. Yeah, but we may not be here to see it. So I think I rule by two basic governing principles in my life. The first is that it's a basic rule. We may get along all day, but it doesn't matter if we don't have anything to breathe, anything to eat, anything to drink. Like, I really don't care about reconciliation or of anything, of anyone, unless it involves the earth. So this is a non-starter for me, because if we want to obsess about anthropomorphism, aka humanity, as being the center of creation, then this is pointless. It's like, what's the point of the discussion? I just don't even enter into the conversation because it's a waste of time. We have the second premise that governs my work, which is that if we don't get along, the earth is going to continue anyways. Now, that means that we might want to look to see what are the positions and premises or the principles that we are immersed in, and they are always within the earth. Now, we are the only beings in creation who don't center hope as the fundamental premise of our life. Now, here's what I mean by that. The questions on this panel are: how do we have political relationships that keep hope and peace, justice, and human dignity? And then the second question is, how do we have political relationships that destroy peace, justice, and human dignity? So I want to focus on that sort of dichotomy of hope and destruction, as hope is a choice. So you have to see it, believe it, and then live it. We are immersed in hope. Creation bends towards love. There is nothing in creation that doesn't bend towards love, except for us. We are the only beings in creation that kill for relatively no purpose. Usually it's for some kind of sick, twisted, macabre enjoyment, ego, nationalism. The only reason that oftentimes people humans kill other humans, is over petty things. Power, usually money, and then ultimately sort of a soothing sense of insecurity around whether God's abandoned or not. And generally, there is a problem in that general premise because it is so oppositional, so outside of the principles of how creation teaches us every day through the breath that we breathe in, through the things that we see, the things that we touch, the things that we smell. We are immersed in hope. Everything about creation bends towards love. Now, you might say to yourself, well, Nikani, death exists in creation. Well, of course it does. Bears eat fish. But then the bears die and become fish food. And that's called reciprocity. That's called love. It's also called hope. Now you have to see that. Like, you have to believe that it is present, and that what creation teaches us, even in the most direst of times, is that through even the most painful experiences, death, trauma, violence, that when creation gifts us those things, we become stronger as a result. We become more creative, innovative as a result. I can draw upon back to Martin Luther King. The daybreak comes. Like, I think that we get into these positions as human beings as being anthropomorphic, meaning we think we are the only purveyors of meaning, that we are the only beings who write, we're the only beings who archive knowledge. But yet the entirety of creation teaches us that's completely false, that's completely an illusion. And not only is that the case, but then we deny it, And the problem ultimately is that the politics of ignorance and the politics of denial are really what destroy hope. Whether it be at the G7, which is all about ignorance and denial, for the purposes of petty power, money, ego. I'm not just talking about one there, but one in particular comes to mind. But we have to see that there's an opportunity in front of us every time we open our eyes, in fact, even when we close our eyes, that we have been gifted this incredible opportunity of life, this incredible creation in which we are absolutely immersed in everything we need is right in front of us. In fact, if you spend any time with our elders who have been here the longest, who have studied this place the longest, who have learned from consecutive generations, millennia, absolute archive, written down civilizations that have been here since time began, that the number one teaching that we always have is that the only way that we get through the winter, is by looking to the person beside you and not worrying about how they vote or how they look or what clothing they're wearing, and saying, well, we got to share medicines, we got to share food, and we got to build the lodge together. That's the only truth I can tell you. And the creation teaches us that. And when we talk about trying to create peaceful dialogue with each other, we talk about how do we reconcile, and sometimes we use that term most often with Indigenous peoples, but I actually think it's most importantly amongst all of us as humanity, particularly when we're talking about the Middle East, or we're talking about places in Africa, or we're talking about our relatives to the south. The only way that we can get through this thing is by building the lodge together, by sharing more than ever, by doubling down on the person beside you. And you learn that from the bears, from the fish, from the water, from the sky, from the earth. Everything around you is sharing. And the question we might want to ask is, how do we have hope or destroy, or how do we have peace, justice, and human dignity? Well, we already see it in front of us. It's that, can we read it? Do we understand it? And then ultimately, will we act on that? I think the catalyst is simple. If we were to question, how do we find hope? And it is, do we choose to see it? Or do we continue to deny that it is right in front of us because we're too busy worrying about what we're wearing or what we see in each other, or ultimately our egos and feelings of fragility and insecurity? Will those dominate in our relationships with each other? Because we have many stories about that. We call that the Wendigo. In our culture, the Wendigo manifests itself through fear. And the Wendigo is often considered to be a cannibalistic spirit that infects at the times in which you feel the least amount of hope. When we acquiesce to fear, when we acquiesce to feelings of disjunction or difference to the person beside us, and the winter is coming, then absolutely we acquiesce to the Wendigo. But if we believe in one another, if we listen, we learn, and then we take action, and then what I always say at the end is repeat, listen, learn, take action on everything that we possibly do, we would absolutely be living unarmed truth and unconditional love. It will have the final word, but the question is will the earth wait for us to figure that out? I'm not always so certain on most days, especially when we're shooting missiles at each other. I'm not always certain when we're deciding some group of people deserve a home to live in, food to eat, medicine to have. I'm not so certain when we are oftentimes spending time worried more about each other than the very earth in front of us, the water in front of us, the way the eagle flies across the sky. I say a big miigwech and thank you very much.